Hey everyone, welcome back to Best Life Abroad, Not Your Average Travel Podcast. I am Dr. Raquel, and if you've been dreaming about a move abroad but aren't sure how to get started, today's episode is just for you. Okay, so we are talking about what you can start doing right now to prepare for your move abroad. Okay, because here is the thing. Moving abroad isn't just about booking a flight and showing up. There is a lot of groundwork that you need to lay ahead of time to make sure that your transition is smooth and stress-free. Okay, so in this episode, I'm going to break down 6 key things that you can start doing today that will set you up for success. So grab your notebook, grab your pen, grab your laptop, your iPad, whatever you use, because you are definitely going to want to take some notes. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, before you do anything, I want you to take a step back and think to yourself about why you want to move abroad. Okay, so this why is going to be what keeps you going when you are ready to throw it all in. Okay, so is it a better quality life? Do you want to live in a place where you can actually afford some eggs? Is it more adventure, new experiences, raise your kids somewhere different? Are you just tired of this rat race and looking for a slower pace of life? So, whatever that reason is, write it down because there will be moments when you question everything like, is this really worth my time? And that is when you are going to need to remember that, like, okay, I am doing this for a reason. And in the end, this will all be worth it because of this thing. Okay. So, a little exercise for you. Take 5, 10 minutes today to just write down your top 3 reasons why you want to move. So, keep them somewhere that's visible in your phone, on your refrigerator, even though statistics say on your fridge, you ignore it. A daily reminder in your journal somewhere so that you can remember why you are going. Okay. And then also, this is going to be what helps you decide on which country you want to live in. So if you are like, I am moving abroad because I want to live in a place that's more affordable, but then you're trying to live in the city center in UAE, that might not be where you're trying to go if you're trying to live in a place that's more affordable. Okay. So your why is really, really important to every single thing that you do in terms of your move abroad. Okay. And I know that it is tempting to live in the moment and treat yourself. But number 2 is if you are serious about moving abroad, you need to start being intentional with your cash. Intentional with your cash. So ask yourself, do I really need this super cute skirt? Maybe your answer would typically be yes, but I want you to think about, am I going to have to wait longer to move abroad because I get this super cute skirt because it is not contributing to my move abroad funds? If so, no skirt. Or would that money better be spent on my relocation fund? So if the answer is yes, then you should go ahead and think about not spending on things you do not need. Do I need to eat out 3 times a week, or can I cook at home and save that money for my first month's rent in Spain? Okay, so really start tracking the things that you're spending your money on and being honest with yourself about where your money is going. And all it takes are small changes. You will be surprised if you stop if you just start thinking about like, okay, is this contributing to me going or is this not contributing to me going? And when you are really ready to go, you will see the difference that that makes. Okay, because then all of a sudden, your money is all going to one specific pot and you will just see that pot getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this was really one thing that helped me out so much, um, because I was like, I'm out. I am out. I'm out of here when we were first moving abroad the first time. And so it was like, I just remember in my mind, and I just did this subconsciously. I didn't like say, okay, I'm going to make sure everything we do is aligned with our move abroad. But what ended up happening was it was just like every single thing that anybody asked, like, hey, you want to go to this concert? Is it free? Okay, then nah, I can't make it. Hey, we're going to this restaurant. Um, Am I going to be spending more than $25 total for myself at this restaurant? Nah, I can't make it. And so every single thing that I did, I realized, or like buying things, you want to get rid of as much as possible before you move abroad. So buying stuff, I was like, that's just more stuff I'm gonna have to get rid of later. No, thank you. But it's amazing how when you change your mindset to I am out and I am not worried about anything that is in this place, how different everything becomes, how much money all of a sudden you have, how much you just see so much more space in your life for the goal that you're setting. Okay. So really, I want you to think about, could this be the difference between feeling financially secure when you land in your new country, or are you going to be having difficulty making ends meet because of these small purchases that are definitely going to be adding up? Okay. Also, if you have not already, go ahead and start your Move Abroad Fund. You will really see how motivating that Move Abroad Fund can be. Even if you're only putting like $20 a week, $20 a month, that's going to take a while. But if it's, however much that you're putting in there, it really adds up, especially when you're cutting out unnecessary expenses. So then you'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't think I had any excess income, but all of a sudden I have $200 that I can put in my fund. Okay. So put that money towards making your move happen sooner. All right. Number 3, start getting your documents together. So nothing will delay your move abroad faster than having some missing documents or expired documents. So the sooner that you can start gathering everything you need, the better. Okay, so here are some of the things that you may need for your move abroad. You will definitely need a passport. And typically, your passport needs to have at least 6 months of validity on it. And depending on the country, it may be several years. So if you need to renew it, go on and get if you need to get a passport, go on and get your passport now. Okay? Because there's also, I think, like a 6 to 8 month wait right now, depending on where you are, where I am, for your passport. Okay, so if you're trying to be out in 6 months, there is no time like the present. All right. Also, your birth certificates. Some countries require an original or notarized copy. If you have kids and they need to go to school places, you may need their birth certificates. Marriage certificate, if it is applicable. Some visa processes require a notarized or an apostilled version of your marriage certificate. If you don't know what apostilled is, look it up, Google it. I did not know what that is until I needed one. Okay. If you may sometimes even need your social security card. I have needed my social security card abroad before because I needed like 2 international forms of ID and they did not take a driver's license. So I have had to use my social security card before. Also a driver's license or international driving permit. If you plan to drive abroad, you need to research what you need to do to drive abroad. Some places will not let you drive with your U.S. license. Some places you can drive for up to 6 months with your U.S. license. Also an international driver's license. I think AAA might have been where we got an international license at one point. Okay. So do your research to figure out what you need. Financial documents, bank statements, you usually have to provide a bank statement at some point in the visa process for a proof of income and any tax documents that might be related to that. Okay, so they want to know, oftentimes countries want to know, do you have enough money so that if it all hits the fan, you can get yourself back to your home country? Okay. Also, many of these documents take weeks to process. So if you need an apostilled marriage certificate, you're not usually getting that same day. So do not wait until the last minute. If you are a procrastinator, you need to figure out your systems to stop that procrastination right now because you want to get ahead of the game and get all of your papers in order before somebody is telling you they need something by next week and then you're stressed. Okay. The key to ease with your move abroad is being as prepared as possible before someone asks you for something. So the more research that you can do for the specific country you're trying to move to about what exactly you need, and research does not always mean official websites. There are so many countries that have official websites, and half of the things you need are not on those websites. Okay. Google is your friend. Facebook site groups are your friend. Okay. Somebody has done it before you last week. And that being said, find that person so that you can see exactly what it is that you really need for your move abroad. All right. Building community is number four. So one of the biggest concerns that people have when they're moving abroad, at least people who I'm talking to, is will I be lonely? And it is very possible that there will be moments of loneliness or moments where you just miss your family, you miss familiarity, you miss a good chocolate that you like, you miss a good meal from a very close person who makes something delicious. That is going to happen while you're abroad. And that is a very valid concern. But the good news is you can start building your community before you even move abroad. You can land on the ground and have people there who know your name and who know how to help you. Okay. So you can join Facebook groups. There are all types of WhatsApp groups for expats in your destination country. These groups are full of people who have already made the move and can answer any questions that you have. So you want to figure out again, that's step one, figure out the country you want to live in. And then from there, you can follow social media accounts of people who are already living there. You can see YouTube channels of people who are already there. You can ask questions. You can look in those groups to see what are the questions other people ask, just in case you're not thinking of that thing. Okay, so get a feel for their experiences, take notes, attend either virtual or in-person expat meetups. There are lots of different expat groups all around the world. You can join them before you get there. Some places have events where you can connect with each other when you're planning your move. So you really want to make sure that you start to build a community as soon as possible because a strong community really makes your transition so much easier. The expat communities in our community in Belgium really was like critical, especially after I had a baby in Belgium. It was just so nice to have like people who are like, oh, you can get these things from the US, but this is something that's better to get from here in Belgium for your baby. And then in Germany, the expat community was very tiny, but it still was a great community. Like for my birthday, I typically would have half expats, half German friends. And so it really is important for just sanity a lot of times while you're abroad in another place to have somebody else who's like, okay, I know you are depressed because it's about to be Thanksgiving, but I'm having a Thanksgiving dinner with all the other Americans at my house. So y'all can come on over. Okay. So it really can take a lot of the pressure off and a lot of the anxiety off, the loneliness off if you're able to build that community. Okay. Number five, please start transitioning to a global mindset. So, moving abroad is not just about a new location, it is about embracing a new way of life. Okay. What you did before is not possibly not going to be what you are going to do while you're living abroad. All right. So, first, if you are moving to a place where they do not speak English, do not be the only one in the group making everybody else speak English because of you when they all speak the same language. You do not need to be fluent, but knowing some very key phrases, basic things, where's the bathroom, how much does this cost, and being able to actually understand when they respond, it will really help you to feel more comfortable and more a part of the community that you're in. I personally am a Duolingo user. I got up to day 294 with French. Thank you very much. And then while I was in France, I was too busy on my Black culture trek, and I could not keep up with the with my lessons. But anywho, definitely recommend Duolingo, and I was actually able to like have conversations and speak to people just from Duolingoing. Okay, I know people who like Babbel. Okay, but these are great ways to just get a book, get a book, and Google Translate how to say stuff that you don't know how to say. Okay, Google Translate is also something that is great, not for necessarily learning a language, but when in country, you can also like go to your camera and scan over a word, and it will tell you what that word is in English. So that's good for like traffic signs. That's great in a grocery store. That's just a little side tidbit, but Duolingo is my personal one that I personally use. Babbel, I've also heard great things about it, but it just kind of depends on your style and how you like to learn. Okay. And then you want to get familiar with cultural norms. Okay. Things like greetings. Do they eat with their hands? Do they use utensils? Do they have elbows on the table? One thing that threw me all the way off was one of my favorite places to go in Germany was like the steakhouse. I'm not a steak person, but I love a good burger. And so, like, Courtney and I, my husband and I, we would always go there to get burgers. And then I had my birthday there one year, and I had all my like friends from all around the world come. And so it was like all of a sudden, everyone, like several people got burgers. But all of a sudden, everyone who had a burger that was from the United States picked up their burger to eat it. Everyone who was from Europe got their fork and knife and started cutting. And I was like, wow. I did not know this happened. But just basic like meal etiquette of like, what do people do? How do they eat food? The same food that you've been eating forever, how do they eat this? Same thing with pizza. We definitely have gone into pizza places and people were using forks and knives. And so like, it's really a time to learn about other cultures and other things, the other ways of doing things. So please, please, please make sure that you're starting to open your mind to the fact that people are not going to necessarily do things the way that you do it. And they might think that is weird. Also, please start practice traveling light. Practice packing only what you really need. Because what is the worst is to see somebody from the United States, and you always know they're from the United States because they're off to a corner and they have huge suitcases that they can barely move to any place that they're trying to get to. It'll barely fit through a door, it'll barely fit in a car. And that is the way to identify us all around the world. And it is terrible. Okay. So please do not overpack. Moving abroad, being abroad, living abroad oftentimes means living with less stuff. So immerse yourself in your country and the norms of your country. Start packing light and learn as much as you possibly can. So for learning as much as you possibly can, I would also recommend starting to do your research on the history of the country where you're going. This is specifically important if you have a marginalized identity, a historically oppressed identity, to see how has this country historically handled people who look like you, or supported people who look like you, or interacted with people who look like you. Okay. You can try listening to news broadcasts. So Lydia, who was on our podcast a few weeks ago, mentioned how it's a great idea to listen to the news in the country that you're trying to move to, because that's a great way to just learn about what's going on. Podcasts, audiobooks, news, all things that will give you information about where you're moving to and make your transition hopefully easier. Okay. So your mindset is just as important as logistics. So it is so important that you start thinking about what is that why and how do I start immersing myself in this culture before I even get there. Okay. All right. We've covered a lot today. Quick recap. So right now, preparing for your move abroad. One, remember your why. Write it down. Stay focused. Okay. Number two, stop buying unnecessary things. If it is not for your life for the future, you do not need it today. Start saving your coins. Okay. Number three, get all your documents together that you need for your visas and your relocations for you and your family if you have one. Number four, start building your support network. There are expat communities all over the place that can support you on your move, before your move, after you get in country. Okay. So start building that community now. Number five, develop a global mindset. Learn the language, study cultural norms, practice minimalism. All right. We do not want to be that clear American who's doing something very American in this very not American place. Okay. Also, you don't have to do everything all at the same time. You can just start one with saying, okay, I know that this country speaks this language. I'm just going to start learning it now. I don't know when I'm moving, or I know I'm moving in 6 months, but that's one thing that I can do right now. So take one step today and then take another step tomorrow. So before you know it, you will be living your best life abroad. Okay, so step by step, break it down into pieces, into chunks so that it is manageable. But these are all things that you can start doing right this second. And you don't have to wait until your bank account is full. You don't have to wait until you have your visa in hand. You can start doing these things right this second to help with your move abroad. Okay. So thank y'all for tuning in. If you have enjoyed this episode, please go ahead, share it with a friend, subscribe, leave a review. And if you are serious about moving abroad and you need some help making it happen, I got you. Okay, so head over to my website, www.yourbestlifeabroad.com. Click work with me at the top and then click I'm ready to move abroad to get started. Okay, so thank you again for joining us today. And remember, there is no time like the present to live your best life abroad, and there is no time like now to get started. All right, so y'all take care. See you later. Bye.